G'day Bambies, Kaleidow here and welcome back to another tiny homes build in The Sims 4. So today we are creating an underground house which is very muchly inspired by Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films. I really liked them when I watched them, but I also want to mention that I am not a full-on fanatic of the franchise. I haven't read the books. So I don't know like the full description of them, but I kind of have a sense of what they are from watching the movies. So I hope I did them justice, and I've always loved the idea of living in an underground house which kind of blends in with the hills around it. I just thought they were so precious and just so gorgeous, really. So I had a lot of fun with this build. It was a bit of a challenge because it is very small compared to the other tiny homes that I have built in the past. It actually looks bigger than it is in the inside, I have to say anyways, because the side little roofing makes it look like there would be more room while there actually isn't. So something that I actually changed a lot was the roof. I did have a lot of plants on the top, but I didn't know how to make the two roofs look like a part of a hill. So that was a little bit of a challenge, but at the very end of the build, I do change it up a little bit. But I do go through a couple different styles with how I wanted it to be. I end up choosing this one that we got in Get Together, which is more of a Tudor style sort of wall covering, and I think it looks really nice. And I was going to go for the more porthole rounded windows, which we see in The Hobbit. We don't really have any round circle doors in The Sims 4, so I couldn't do that. But I found this really cute one which had a big like door banging thing. I don't know what they're called. They're like, you knock on the door, that's how you knock on it. I think they're really cool. One day when I have my own house and I get to choose which type of door I have, I really want a door knocker like that. I don't know what they're called, but they're just so cool and ornate. Anyways, I really wanted to make this house feel cozy because I feel like, especially in The Hobbit, when they have all of the dwarves in there and they have like their meetings and stuff, the house feels so full and so lively, but it's also really, really cozy. The lighting and just like the furniture and everything like that, and the wall coverings. So I think I did an alright job of kind of encapsulating, giving that impression of coziness and a warmth. So everything's very like wooden, lots of woods, earthy tones. I didn't really put much modern stuff. I don't think I put anything modern in this build at all. I wanted it to look very fantasy. So yeah, I did put this little tiny window nook at the back which connects into the bathroom, just because I wanted to add in some diversity into the build, because it was very straight on, just like one little tiny hill. And I just felt it was a little bit boring, needed a little bit more. So hope you guys don't mind me changing that up. But yeah, I'm really liking the shape of the build so far. So I was like, okay, gotta move on to the inside. So now we're going to be trying to fit in a kitchen, a lounge living area, the bedroom, which I had there, and also the bathroom. So it did take me a while to kind of figure out how I was going to separate these rooms, especially the kitchen from the living room, but I end up going with a diagonal wall, which kind of suits it a lot more. One thing I would have to say, if you guys wanted to play in this house with your Sims, I did test it out, and unfortunately a lot of the rooms don't work that well. And what you would have to do is just delete some of the walls, maybe the wall right here that I just put in. I don't know why the Sims just have a little bit of difficulty, and you might have to push the bed to one side, or if you're going to have two Sims living here, you would have two single beds and push them up against the side. And unfortunately, I thought it looked really cute, this little table in front of the fireplace. It is actually a chair, but I thought it was so cute. And the idea of it being a little stump, I don't know, like hobbits are supposed to be a part of nature almost, like they're almost invisible. They just blend in with their surroundings almost. They go unnoticed, and that is why they're such a big part of the Lord of the Rings story, because they're the only people, the only race that can really fight against Mordor. Am I remembering these words correctly? I'm not the biggest fan, obviously. I've only watched the films and played the game like a couple times back in the day, but I hope I got all of those words right. But I really wanted to kind of make it feel earthy and like earthbound, this house. And there is actually a lot of furniture in The Sims 4, which matches that. And I was really surprised but also happy. And have you guys seen on Twitter that The Sims were asking us about eco-living and all of that? I was looking at the pictures of it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to vote, but from the sounds of it, the more earthy, hippy-dippy sort of style was the winner of the vote. So I'm really excited. Maybe we'll get more of this sort of I don't know, looks more handmade, like DIY sort of stuff. After Eco Living comes out, because it's going to be a stuff pack, fingers crossed, you guys could definitely add a lot of those things into this build. I think it would go very muchly in hand, and honestly, I think that pack in general will really suit this series, Tiny Homes. I'll be able to make a lot more builds that, I don't know, I really wanted to include stuff like solar panels and that into my builds. I'm really hoping that we have like faux solar panels. That would be epic, just because it kind of gives that aesthetic of living off the grid. And this house definitely feels like it's people who live off the grid. Like in the kitchen there, I have some bits and pieces, things to do with the garden. I thought it was very important that I included things like that. Possibly the Hobbit, which lives in this house, would be a gardener. I think he would be. I just think it's really cute that hobbits all have their own little thing that they do for their whole life. Be it, I don't know, a chef or a baker or a carpenter or a gardener. I just think it's so cute and humble, and they have such cute and humble homes to match that personality and their lifestyle, which is adorable. And honestly, I would love to live in a hobbit hole one day, or at least like make one. There's one on the house website or here on YouTube, and it was so cute. I can't believe this lady made it on a really, really nice hillside out in the middle of nowhere. So it definitely kind of gives the Shire vibes. And I did kind of look at that for inspiration for this build. That's where I was inspired. And the one thing that she did wrong with building that house was I think it didn't have enough room. And she also said that building underground is a lot harder than it looks. Like you have to do a lot of sealant so then water doesn't come in, seep into the building, because you know, like dirt and rocks and stuff still absorb moisture and it will eventually go down into the walls if you're not careful. So there is a lot to do with creating a underground house that I've never thought about before. I always thought like you could just dig it out like a cave and then just put up some beams and be okay, but apparently not. So I think it was important that I made all of the rooms separated, and I think a lot of these walls would be holding up the ceiling, would be holding up the hill. Also, looking at it now, having this Tudor style walling throughout the whole home is quite good because it also saves room. I didn't have to include any beams at all, any columns, because that would have taken up a lot of space, but the wall, Tudor style, kind of gives that illusion that we have something holding up the ceiling. So very happy with that. I love how many plants are on top of the house right now. Oh my gosh. But it does kind of look a bit funny. It looks like our house is a bit of a mullet going on because I don't have anything on the sides. Like it looks like it's shaven on the sides. Oh my gosh. But I do change that a little bit later on. So don't worry guys, our little Hobbit hole is not going to be a mullet rock star for much longer. And the outside of the house does change a lot very soon too, because I wasn't really feeling the garden, and that's why I was kind of leaving it to last. I know gardens are very important to hobbits. Like I said, they're sort of like one with nature almost, and yeah, I really wanted to make that look really good. So because I didn't have any ideas yet, I decided gonna focus on the inside. The bedroom was very, very simple. I did fit in a wardrobe there. But again, we do have issues with these Sims walking around in this room. They can get into the bed fine, but for some reason, they can't get out of the bed. Like they stand there and they're like, I can't get out of here. What do I do? I'm just like, dude, you walked in there by yourself. You can get yourself out of there. Sometimes the Sims are so silly, but you could replace that bed with a single one, of course. Now we are on the outside, and I had a new idea of using a stone fence because I thought it would suit the Windenburg surroundings a little bit more. And you know what? In The Hobbit, it kind of felt like the house was quite high up. So I kind of wanted to try to give that illusion. It's really hard in The Sims because we don't have terrain tools. So all I can use is basements to kind of make it feel like they're higher up. So that's what I did. And hopefully it doesn't look too ridiculous. Right now it looks very plain, but I do hide it, all of those very jagged edges with plants and rocks. So it does look a lot more natural later on. I do promise, guys. Hopefully it doesn't look too terrible. So we do have some gardens here and there, and I did put in some plants for you guys. So you'll see later on, I did play the game a little bit. So the plants are a little bit more established, and you guys, if you download it, you will have some herbalism plants there, and there's also a pomegranate tree. I've always loved pomegranates. We had a tree when I was young where I grew up at my house, and I used to always try to eat them when they weren't ripe. And oh my gosh, if you guys have tried eating a pomegranate which is not ripe yet, you know what I mean. That bitterness is intense, and you can't even wash it out. Like you literally just have to sit there trying to wait for it to get out of your mouth. It's such a, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a bitterness which sticks all around your mouth. It's so gross. But for so long when I was little, I hated pomegranates. I was like, how do people eat these? What is the appeal? Why? They're so bad. And then my dad told me that I was eating them when they were raw, like they weren't even ripe. So I don't even know. We had a pomegranate tree. We didn't even eat them. We had a lot of fruit trees actually. Growing up, we had a mulberry tree. We had a bunch of nut trees. We had like chestnut, walnuts. I can't remember. I think we had pecan. I can't remember. But walnuts were the main ones that we ate a lot. And my dad had such a huge garden. He even let me have a big section all to myself. And I used to grow my own wheat and rice. And I once made my own flour. It was only like less than a cup. But I was so proud when I grounded my first like cup of flour. I just thought it was really cool. I feel very experience living out in the country, like growing up and doing cool stuff like that. Let me know down below if you got to garden and grow your own vegetables as a kid. I feel like not a lot of people get to do that anymore, and I used to think it was normal. Like I had so much fun, and it was something that me and my dad did together. My father and I did together. I have terrible grammar, I know. Obviously my father did not teach me how to talk properly. Oh man. But yeah, look how nice this is all coming together now with all of the plants. And I think the little, like, I like to call it a bit of a ravine almost around the house does make it look a little bit more, I don't know, natural, not just like a random house sitting there. kind of blends in a bit. Hopefully it doesn't look too bad. If you guys don't like it, of course, you can delete the basement there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And now we're just putting in some lights. But, oh man, I love how cozy and nice it looks inside. I didn't want to put too many lights outside because I thought maybe the little Hobbit doesn't like to go outside at night. They just stay indoors. But yeah, now we're putting in some rocks. And one of the things that I actually forgot to put into this build, you know how there's usually the one thing that builders here on YouTube forget? Give us a break, guys. We're like racing against time to record these, so we do forget some things here and there. But I forgot to put a dining table in this build. But there is a lounge chair, there's an armchair, and there's also a chair outside, a couple chairs outside, which your Sims can sit on and have their fruit. So if you guys like, you could put a little dining table outside, or you could move things here and there indoors and maybe try to fit in one. But yeah, here I am trying to make the sides of the house look a little bit more natural by putting in some plants. I really did try. I wish that I was able to make the roofing look more green, but some of the other roof coverings just didn't work. But now we're up to the screenshots. There's the kitchen, another view of the kitchen. Definitely looks like a little green thumb lives here. The bedroom looks so warm and cozy. Oh my gosh. The lounge room, which has a little bookcase in there for our Hobbit to read. And there's another look in the lounge room. And then the outside. And you guys can see there that some of the plants have grown a bit. But yeah, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this sweet little build that I did today. Let me know down below in the comments if you liked it. And yeah, of course, it's going to be on the gallery, so you can find it there. My name is just Kaleidow. But yeah, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic day. I love you all to bits, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.